He's back. Hello, Rory.
Hello, Lairdy.
Hello, guys. How are you?
Not bad at all. How many games should Pep get?
Oh, that's not for me to comment on, but might be a bit busy at the Tribunal this week, I dare say.
All right, well, let's get serious about this. You know what the AFL has done over the off-season. You know where this has been tracking for a long time. I'm curious as to how the coaches deal with you as players, but how do you play the game now?
You just got to be more careful, I guess. Like, it's a pretty generic response, but any kind of twisting or turning or obviously the action that happened on the weekend is a no-no, but I got caught out with it last year and
Yes.
I got off in the end, but it is a very fine line and you can see the importance of it with, Angus Brayshaw and what happened with his career and how important it is to protect the players, but it does make it quite hard at times in terms of, the physicality of it and determining what is right and what is wrong. So it does get a bit tricky at times, but it's probably just being more careful, I guess.
So Kim's point about this happens in milliseconds.
Yeah.
You are a competitive beast. You certainly are on the football field. And we don't want to see players sidestep, as the AFL Tribunal asked of a Melbourne player last year at a tribunal. I'm very curious, how do the coaches prepare you now for these moments?
It's probably not much a coach can do, really. Like, they can sort of give you a few pointers, but at the end it comes down to a decision that you make on the field to go and do it. And it's probably the one that I sort of had the twisting. You have a sort of a little bit more time. It's still extremely quick to be be able to actually make a decision to stop and not sling them. But it's always going to be an awkward one when there's two players going for the footy and one player's got his head over the ball and they're meeting together and the ball's, in between them. And you don't want to see players, step out of the way and then let a player run past. I wouldn't do that. I'd still go for the ball. And, if it did happen to be a collection of someone else, then, you sort of have to deal with it as it is and say that there was no, malice to it and it wasn't, targeting the player, it was actually targeting the ball. So it is good. I dare say there's going to be a few this year that it's going to be hard to judge and officiate.
Absolutely.
And, it's just sort of the sign of the times.
Yeah, we'll watch with interest. Let's go back to Friday night. What did you like about the trial game? It was a draw after 4 terms and then Port got hold of the Crows in the next 2 quarters with the top-up players. What did you like?
I thought our start was good and then we sort of faded away a little bit around our contest work and we allowed Port to get a bit of movement through the stoppages. They got on top of us in the second quarter and then, we sort of brought it back in the third. So a little bit rusty to start, trying out a few things, a few players playing in different positions and some structure stuff we did. But all in all, it was a pretty solid first hit out. Port a pretty quality side and it was pretty even for most of the day. But it was a bit tricky. It was hard to read the ball. There was a huge wind going pretty much straight across the ground and a little bit like Ballarat. It sort of played that one side and wasn't a lot of, chipping around and actually moving it off the line. So a little bit of an interesting game, but we'll have a look at a few things and then try and place it into the game this weekend against West Coast.
Well, the good news is you don't have to go back to Ballarat this year. The media are in the opinion business, some are more qualified than others. There's a former coach, Graham Corn, said the thing he got out of it was that Adelaide still have a problem with their midfield. I don't subscribe to that. Your views, there's Dawson, Crouch, yourself. Sloaney will get there later for a squirt maybe. Pedler, Rankin and Rochelle. Are you happy with the mix?
Yeah, I think it's a great mix. I think you've got some inside players. Dawes can play inside and outside, and then we're going to rotate a fair few of those high half forwards through. So you've got Rochelle and Rankin, as you said, Pedler as well. Jake Saligo is another one to come back into the side. So I'm not too sure what he's alluding to there, but we also went up against a few superstars of the comp. Zachy Butters and Connor Rosea are pretty handy players. So, but you see what happened last year when we played them. We were able to sort of nullify their impact. They still, find the ball and have an impact on the game. But if we can stop that and go the other way, then we'll be all right. I think, it was a trial game, so I wouldn't be rushing to too many conclusions, Graham.
Yeah, it's well said. Yeah, I was a little bit surprised by it. Stud, don't agree with you at all.
Just to fill everyone in and let Rory have a response here, Graham wrote that big-bodied, explosive midfielder the Crows, desperately need was nowhere to be seen. There is no doubt Isaac Rankin, who seems certain to rotate more often through the centre, is explosive and he can find the ball, but he is not big-bodied. Beside, he is of much more value in the forward line. So that's what Graham Corns wrote, Rory. Your response?
So what did you say Jordan Dawson isn't the big-bodied mid we've got in there, or
He
no
didn't give him
explosive?
a mention.
Well, he mentions that the starting midfield was O'Brien, Dawson, Laird and Rankin. That big-bodied, explosive midfielder they desperately need was nowhere to be seen. I can only read what he wrote, but that's his
probably
impression.
disagree with that too. To be honest, I'm on Kim's side here. I think, you don't have to be extremely big and explosive. I think, you got Isaac Rankin to complement, myself, Matt and Dawes. So I think Dawes he's a massive dude when you actually stand next to him, and he's pretty handy player. I don't know if you saw him play too much last year, but All-Australian and BNF, I think he's going all right.
Yeah.
You've made your point. Everyone's been talking up Riley Thilthorpe. He's had a great pre-season, a good summer. The signs were good on Friday night.
Yeah, we gave him some really good opportunity. I think if you get him into him one-on-one at the moment, he's high on his confidence, and had a really smooth pre-season is probably the right word for him. He's had a lot of niggles over the last couple of years that have sort of hampered a bit of his prep, but as you can sort of see the size of him, he's had massive summer in the gym, and then just sort of some of the craft work he's been doing, especially alongside Tex, is showing, and he's just really marking the ball well as reading it well. So we gave him some opportunities on the weekend, and he looked the goods.
It'd be remiss if we didn't ask how Mark Keane is. Has he pulled up okay?
Yeah, saw him today. I think after the game he was pretty bad. I think there was a bit of sickness there, and obviously a few pretty serious headaches. So, but then he said he actually the next couple of days he's been pretty good, and he was in today for a bit. So I think he's tracking really well. But I think initially it was a pretty big hit, so he was a bit rocked.
Has his backside reduced a little bit? He looks really lean. It's his first real pre-season, isn't it?
Yeah, well, when you spend a summer with Darren Burgess, I think it just drops off you. So there's plenty of running to go around.
Rory, your point earlier to us that some players were tried in new roles. Who lived up to the challenge that was presented them, and who looks comfortable in a new role and that new role?
Yeah, well, I think we've sort of touched on Ranks a bit. He knows where to go to find the footy, and he's done a lot of work on his centre bounce stuff, and he actually got a fair bit of a look in there. Josh Rochelle had sort of a pinch hit, but as what I do agree with what Graham said is, Rash and Ranks are really dangerous and important for us up forward too. So it's just a matter of finding that balance with those two. But I thought Ranks looked really good, and really sort of cemented himself into that centre bounce role, which you probably be found up a bit more in this year.
Okay. I reckon they've got the ingredients, Adelaide. It's about getting the recipe right. We often talk about this, but would you agree with Rankin if he's playing 60% up forward, 25 squared in the midfield, and then 15 on the bench, which they all do? Is that a reasonable mix?
Something like that. Yeah, he's got a good tank too, which a lot of people don't realise. He actually covers the ground really well, and he's super fit. And it's just a matter, it might be some game that he actually wants to get up around the ball, and opposition's putting a lot of work into him. Yeah. So it might be, see how he's going up forward, if he needs to be injected up there. And it can be really confusing too, if he's up in the midfield and then he goes forward, it's hard to track him, and he might be able to get off the chain a bit, which is always nice for us.
There's always a lot of heat to get positions for the first game of the year. Ned McHenry put his hand up.
Yeah, he looked fantastic. Much like Isaac plays that sort of... Isaac plays a bit deeper, but the same tank, they cover the ground really well, and Ned played that sort of high half-forward role, which can be really challenging at times. But, he got, behind Port's defence a couple of times, and was a bit of a link-up player for us. So, he looks super good and comfortable in that role on the weekend.
Everyone come out of this okay? Just you all get together today, you get the recovery session. What's any news there on how everyone's come up? And the initial Matt Crouch, how's his hand at the moment?
Yeah, he's got a bit of a sore finger. I think he got a try on a train last week, but didn't hamper him too much in the game. And, we've just had a bit of a training day today, and we'll have a bit of a review just after this. So just to go through some of the stuff we saw on the weekend. So we actually haven't done too much of that yet today, so we'll look into that. And then, as I said, we'll take it into what we want to do this week against West Coast.
How's Sloaney tracking? I know they'll be very careful with him, but is he hoping to play this week?
I wouldn't say this week, Kymbo. I'd say it's still a fair while off. It's obviously a very delicate injury, and I think they want to be more cautious than anything. And I think as much as Swanee would probably say he could be ready to play, I think it's one that you have to be very careful of.
Of course.
Funny old game, this football business. James Borlase was the last player to be signed up for Adelaide, and he looks like he'll be starting, I'd say, in the first game of the year.
Yeah, well, he looked pretty good on the weekend too. Did a few nice things and took his form from sort of what he did in that back, 3 or 4 games last year. So there's obviously a bit of trouble going on there at the moment with the injury front, but I think Jordan Butts will be nearly ready to go this week to actually give him a run around. And then obviously you never know with the concussion with Mark, but from early signs it is positive. So and then Nick Murray is still a fair way off with the ACL. So. A little bit happening there, but at least some of them are trending in the right direction.
So, Rory, do you know what the mastermind Darren Burgess is thinking of players who need 2 games and who needs 1 so they won't play this one against West Coast? Is that been spelled out to you guys at Adelaide?
Not yet. I think they sort of go off an individual basis. And guys that, are coming back from injury like your Jake Saligos and stuff will obviously try and get an actual run around. And then, we had some of the older guys on the weekend like Matt Crouch and Texan play 3 quarters instead of 4. So a lot of them are sort of individually based, and then you sort of look towards round 1 as well. What do players need to actually get enough sort of game load? And there's only, a match sim at training is still high intensity, but it's not the same as an opposition. So you do want to get some, but some players need, more than others. So that's Burjo's job, and I'm glad that I'm not involved with that because there's 44 players to get through.
Hey, Lairdy, how do you prepare for a game like this weekend against the West Coast? Did you have a look at them on the weekend against Freo?
No, I didn't watch it at all, Kimbo.
I watched it. I did the homework for you.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay, what did you get?
You got them covered. Will you have a look at them this week, though, collectively, or not? Or it doesn't work that way?
Yeah, of course, yeah. We did that with Port last week, just a few things. And, we'll probably look at some of their vision from the weekend and see what they sort of do. And just to know that, what we're coming up against. And if they do a certain thing, we can, have a look at that and make sure we're well equipped for it, I should say. So, always do that. And, always respect the opposition and obviously try and have a really good hit out.
Well said, Rory.
Yeah, he's a good man.
Well
on a lighter note,
let me put it this way. I don't think you've got much to worry about.
Oh, Rooch, don't tempt the footy
good.
God. Hey, give us the good
It's a
oil.
trial game,
Give us the good
Kim.
oil. What's it like to play at Alberton Oval? Did you get any choice messages from over the fence?
Oh, yeah. I got this massive sort of corky in my thigh and about 4 minutes in, and I was getting up and I was like, that's going to be an absolute, pain in the bum to deal with. And I was right near the boundary, and I got a few, get up, mate, you're weak, etc., etc. You can imagine some of the profanities coming out. Oh. I also wanted to say, come over here and say that, mate. We'll come out on the ground. But
don't do that, Rory. Don't do that. Some of them will actually take up the offer.
I didn't say that. No, I did not say that. I just turned back and smiled and said,
Rory, I've already got a picture. Situation. I've got a picture of 2 blokes who are on that outer who wouldn't hesitate coming over the fence.
Yeah, well,
if you invite them.
That's why I didn't say it.
It could work the other way. What if Lairdy jumped the fence? I got a text.
No, Rory would never do anything as silly as that, Kim.
The last person to do that was Robbie Muir. A text has just come through. He says, how about when Robbie Muir cleaned up Kim Dillon back in the 80s? It was deemed an act of community service. Clean me up.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Not fair enough. He king hit me.
Oh, that's probably a bit far.
No, it was. Yeah, thanks for the compassion there, Lairdy. Lairdy, right, we look forward to having a look at this game and just seeing where the club is at the moment. We're only a few weeks away from the season.
Yep.
It's about the most excited I've been for a long time. The great expectations about Adelaide and Port Adelaide. So hopefully it's going to be a good year for our state football-wise.
I think so, mate. I think it's very exciting times for both clubs, and it sort of saw on the weekend it was a very even game and it was some exciting footy. So, ready to go, mate. I'm ready to sort of play this week and then the week off when we're into it. So it's pretty exciting.
Good luck, Rory.
Hey, one quick one. You didn't play the week before because you're a superstar making millions. You went to your sister's wedding. Did you have to do a speech?
No. The week before that, I actually had another wedding. That was my best man speech at one of my best mates. So I was very nervous for that. But I walked my sister down the aisle last week, so that was lovely, and
wonderful.
I was pretty nervous for that as well.
Did you tear up?
So I nearly did twice in 2 speeches, and I don't usually tear up too much. So it was a pretty emotional day, which is saying something.
Oh, beautiful.
But it was great. It all went well.
Probably got you motivated to propose in the next few weeks.
I knew that was coming. I was just waiting for that. But
I just thought I'd better check first. You haven't broken up. Yeah, I did that once before.
No, going well.
Love you,
Well done,
Lairdy.
Rory.
We'll speak to you again soon.
See you, boys.
That's Rory Laird.
Yeah, he's